All right, now in app component, I have defined a field called task. Here we have an object with two properties, title and assignee, which is another object itself. This assignee has a name property, which is set to John Smith. Now in the template for this component, you can see I've used a span with interpolation to render the name of the assignee for this task. So when we go to the browser, we see John Smith on the screen. Now, sometimes when you're dealing with complex objects, it is possible that the value of a property may be null or undefined for a certain period of time. For example, you might want to call different endpoints to get these objects from the server. So then assignee might be null for maybe a fraction of a second. Let me simulate this scenario. So I'm going to change the value of this property to null. Now back in the browser, we have a blank screen. So let's take a look at the console. Look at this error. Cannot read property name of null. So because assignee is null, we cannot access the name property here. Now there are two solutions to solve this problem. One way is to use the ngIf directive. So ngIf, we want to render this span only if this task object has an assignee. So task.assignee. If this evaluates to truthy, then this span will be rendered. So save, back in the browser. So look, we have no errors in the console and there is nothing on the screen. Now there is also another way to solve this problem. So maybe you want to keep the span in the DOM, but you don't want to render the name of the assignee if it's null. So let's remove this ngIf. We can use what we call safe traversal operator. So because assignee can be null or undefined, we put a question mark after it before the dot. Now with this syntax, if assignee is null or undefined, Angular is going to ignore this. Otherwise, it's going to render the name property of the assignee on the screen. So let's go back to the browser. Look, we have no errors. And if we inspect the DOM, so under app root, we have our span, but there is nothing inside this span. So this is safe traversal operator. Be aware of it. You may want to use this when dealing with complex objects.